And a good morning to you. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Stalton. Are you having a good day today? This is my actual second cup of coffee. So I can say, but secondly, my cup of coffee. Quite excellent. I'm going to be reading from my Twitter feed from yesterday, discussing things, and also a little bit from my blog. Here's something for 2019 for you. Say this out loud. I'm not chasing people from my past anymore. Say it with me now. I'm not chasing people from my past anymore. Now follow through on that. Chase all you want right up until January 1st. In 2019, you are not pursuing anyone from your past. And if I hear about it, you're in trouble. You are well on your way to looking like one of your parents. That's the good news and the bad news. As I am getting into better shape, every Italian girl I know, everyone, says this to me. Don't get too skinny. Sorry, honey, the diabetes look doesn't really look good on me. I'm enjoying a trim, slimmer, muscular look. Oh, I like guys that are, I like those teddy bear kind of guys. You mean the guys that are going to die young? You mean those guys? You mean those guys that are taking all kinds of medication every morning because of their heart and blood pressure and their blood sugar? You mean those guys? Stay away from women like that. You want a woman who's going to, if you're a man, you want a woman who's going to encourage your health. Not this fantasy of what she wants to wrap her arms around. You might never see yourself as a trim, muscular person, but there is a statue of David trapped inside your body, waiting to get out. Find David inside your body. He's there. You might have to coax him out with some good dietary skills and getting into the gym a couple days a week. So stay away from people who say, I like you with a little more weight on you. They're going to drag you down. The camera adds 20 pounds, they always say. So don't worry, she's only 235 pounds. Aaron Marino never wakes up as Alpha M. He becomes Alpha M as soon as he presses record. Remember that. Strange days have found us. Strange days have tracked us down. They're going to destroy our casual joys. We shall go on playing or find a new town. The Doors, 1967. I have noticed that the most undesirable women constantly post relationship memes on Instagram and Facebook. It's almost like they're advertising their dysfunction. I have never ever known a balanced, functioning person to post things like, well, when one door closes, another door, like that kind of stuff, or the Jeremiah 29 verse, the hope and fear. I've never seen so many people quote that verse out of context and post all these relationship memes. Like I said, they are advertising their dysfunction. Stay away. They're signaling that they are up. And I hope you're not doing that. Police can only respond with body bags and crime scene tape. Even they will tell you that themselves. You are in charge of protecting you and ensuring the safety of those under your roof. Why is that so hard for people to understand? That's part of being a man. Not picking up the phone and waiting till the bad guys hurt you or your family. You are in charge of your safety. No matter how old you are, no matter how you look, doesn't matter. You are in charge of it. Take full responsibility. Check out my interview. I'm going to put a link down below. My interview with the real Jack Murphy live. You're going to enjoy it. A lot of good conversation there. I'll put that down below. And then tell me what you think. You can think your way into depression, but you have to act your way out. That is the truth. Never be mad at a scorpion for being a scorpion. That's what they do. See the world for what it is, not what you think it should be. Scorpions have always made bad pets. Tell your son that. Dr. Sean T. Smith says, the gym is everything that socialists hate. Equal opportunity, outcomes based upon effort, and you can't steal someone else's results. Hell yes, Dr. Sean T. Smith. Yesterday was Marketing Monday, but I'll share some business growth things with you. Money does not come to vagueness. Be specific. You can't please everybody. You're not going to. When you're a friend of everybody, you end up being a friend of none. Be specific. Whittle your message down to 1 or 2 lines. In 2019, even a 30-second elevator pitch is too long. Ooh, look at that sun coming up now. Love it. Isn't that beautiful? You are a practitioner of the strategy of preeminence, which you help people remember you. Simply put, the strategy of preeminence is this. When people think of X, they automatically think of you. I do that in the hair industry. When I made the move to men's grooming, I specialized in beards. So when people think of beards, they automatically think of me. That was no accident. I took full responsibility for being known as that guy. And it worked. Internationally. I'm known worldwide for that. The number one communication rule is this. Take full responsibility for your message. Letting people know who you are, what you do, and how it applies to them. Super important. Devote 20% of your time and resources to marketing and business promotion, which means one day a week, or at least 2 to 3 hours a day to marketing and business promotion. You have to do it. As much as you don't want to, you're going to have to call people and lead people to sign on the dotted line, to make a commitment to whip out their credit card. If you are in business and you can't get, if you don't have a call to action, if you can't get people to give you their credit card number, give you cash, give you money for your services or your product, you're going to fail. Product development and courses and all are so easy to create. The hard part is the sales part. That's why so many people fail. And that's why few succeed. The song Wishing You Were Here by Chicago or Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. What do you think is the better song? Put your comment down below. It's not that I feel like I'm in a different country when I go to Whole Foods Market. I feel like I'm on a different planet when I walk in that damn place. It's friggin' weird. I don't give a crap what anyone says. The place is weird, and the people they hire are weird, and the people that shop there are weird. In the world of EDC, Kydex, and tactical everything, I still like the classic Opinel number 8 knife. Does anyone else like them? Or is it just me? It's the most wonderful time of the year. Happy Folly Days. When single people either jump for joy or just avoid everything holiday and social. There's not a single law enforcement officer I know that isn't for every sound-minded American to legally own, get trained, register, and know how to use their personal firearm. How do I know? I cut their hair. That's how I know. But you and I, we've been through that, and this is not our fate. So let us not talk falsely now. The hour's getting late. Bob Dylan, 1968. Praise the Lord and Pass the Ammunition is an American patriotic song written by Frank Lesser and published as sheet music in 1942 by the famous Music Corporation. The song was a response to the attack on Pearl Harbor that marked the United States' involvement in World War II. The song describes a chaplain, a sky pilot, being with some fighting men who are under attack from the enemy. He is asked to say a prayer for the men who are engaged in firing at oncoming planes. The chaplain puts down his Bible, mans one of the ship's gun turrets, and begins firing back and saying, "Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition." When I look at the state of most men, about 80% in the United States and most of Europe, when I look at the state of men and their manhood and masculinity, if there was a zombie apocalypse, you already know who's going to get eaten first and who's going to survive. Let's talk about barbershops. Why I go to a barbershop and not a national chain? I know the beauty industry. My mom was a beautician. My father was a barber, or is, I should say. The bar for haircuts was raised pretty high in my family as I grew up and when I left for college. I couldn't stand the fact that I had to get my hair cut by someone other than my father, who was a barber. I remember going months without a haircut and driving home from college to upstate New York, 6 hours, knowing that I would get a good haircut from Dad. For a short time, I worked in the aesthetics industry and I had access to the best stylists in the world, but still, nobody gave me a haircut like my father. Hold on one second, I gotta block that sun. All right, we're back. And I'm not getting blinded right now. The angle of the sun at this time of year just comes in. That's the good news and the bad news. I can sit here and have a cup of coffee as the sun rises and feel the warmth. But as I've started doing these shows, I have to really either do them while it's yet dark, which I didn't do today. I was a little bit later today. So that's where I'm at. So let's finish this story here. I remember hanging out at the barbershop on Saturdays when I was a kid. The smells were only the smells a barbershop could have, and not those of a woman's salon. I used to gag at the smells of a salon, the perms, the straighteners, the dyes, the bleaches. Yuck. The barbershop would have the occasional cigar smoker, which I really didn't mind too much because at that time, most of the Italian guys I knew smoked cigars, and it was a familiar smell to me. The smell of cigars made me feel safe as a kid because at that time real men smoked cigars and nobody messed with real men. Then there was the smell of the hot lather from the hot lather machine, the steamy hot towels, and that blue liquid, barbicide, that disinfects the combs and blades, and of course all the French Pinard Clubman aftershave and the tall skinny bottle on the shelf in front of the mirror. The smell of talcum powder as the barber brushed the hair clippings off your forehead, neck, and face. You knew to close your eyes and keep your mouth shut. There were the sounds that you could only hear in a barber shop and not a salon. The sound of the lather machine. The sound of slip, slap as the barber stropped the razor on the leather strap that hung off the arm of each barber chair. The sound of the barber chair hydraulics as he pumped up the height of the chair. The sound of the broom as the barber swept up hair in between each customer. The sound of the bell that jingled every time a customer came through the door. The sight of men lined up in chairs reading newspapers, National Geographic, and Life magazine. The black and white photos on the walls of people like Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, Jerry Vale, and others of that genre of music. Some of them even had autographs of the singers on the wall. They didn't need an open sign on the door because when the barber pole outside the shop was lit and spinning, you knew it was open. There may have been a black and white TV with rabbit ears. Those are antennas. It could have been a sports game or an old movie. There was talking back and forth between all the men and all the barbers. The guy in the chair had to rely on the mirror to see who was talking because if he turned his head, he might lose an ear. Blades were flying all over the place in those days, and God forbid you get nicked, then the barber would put this thing called a styptic pencil on the cut, which stopped the bleeding, but not without stinging like hell first. And it was never the barber's fault. Even if it was really his fault, it was never his fault. It was because you moved. Period. End of story. You never argue with a guy who has something sharp near your face or throat. The barbers pretty much gave the same haircut to everybody in those days unless it was a crew cut or a flat top. The lines were perfect, you smelled good, you felt good, you itched like hell for the rest of the day, but you didn't mind. He always applied a little bit of greasy stuff, VO5 or spray in your hair. Those were the days before gel, paste, or mousse. You paid and the barber pressed down 2 buttons on the old cash register and the drawer opened up with the ring of a bell. You never saw the price of the haircut on the register. He just went through the motions of opening the register. If there wasn't enough change in the drawer, he pulled a wad out of his pocket. The thickest wad of dough I've ever seen was in Barber's hands. He peeled off a few bills and you gave him a little bit as a tip. You both knew what the protocol was, but you went through the motions. Anyways, he thanked you and you always came back a month later. I remember riding my bike to the shop at 6 p.m. on a Saturday when the shop was closed at 6 p.m. My dad would ride the bike and I would be sitting on the handlebars as we rode back home. I couldn't wait to be home with him. He couldn't wait to sit down and relax after being on his feet all day long. My folks are in Florida now. They're in their 80s. Mom only cuts Dad's hair now. Dad still cuts hair in the garage of friends and family. They line up in lawn chairs. They shoot the breeze. They drink homemade wine. They leave my dad more money than he ever made when he was working in a barber shop. The chair is there, the mirror is there, the strop is there, the shelf with the various products is there, and most importantly, my dad is there. He's in his 80s. He listens to woes and stories about layoffs, grown children that never became doctors or lawyers, hears about cancer, mistresses, and then somehow makes them feel better about their sins, their struggles and dreams, no matter how old they are. Your barber is a pretty special guy. You can take a New York barber, my father, and stick him in a garage in Florida, and you still feel like you're in a barber shop. That only leads me to believe that it has more to do with the barber than the shop. It's the barber that creates the experience. No man other than my doctor can come that close to me. Other than God, there is no counselor, priest, or magistrate that hears the things that a barber hears. There's no other man that I can take my boys to and say, clean him up a little bit, and then thank him, and then give him money. Barbers do one really cool thing for me for a moment when I take my boys to them. They give me a glimpse of what my boys will look like as men. I remember when I was just a little boy, I would get a certain kind of haircut, parted, combed over, and my mother would say, "You look like a little man." So in my family, we called them little man haircuts. He makes them look like little men. He parts their hair perfectly. He uses a combination of scissors and clippers, not just clippers. The barber understands a number 2 on the sides and a 4 on the top, but he doesn't like that. Maybe a lot of barbers now like that. That's what a male customer says after going to a men's salon or a chain salon for years. So give me a 2 on the side and a 4 on top. The barber sympathizes with you, but he doesn't judge you. It gives him an idea of what you want. A good barber knows what looks best on you. He knows what cut looks good with the shape of your face, how you dress, the work you do. A good barber takes mental notes on all those things. Trust your barber. Just let him do his thing on you. It will look good. The barber, your barber, is a pretty special guy. Even though I can't get to Florida, to my father's garage, as much as I would like, you can bet that when I need a haircut, I don't go to a haircut factory. I go to a barbershop. I hope you enjoyed that. Enjoy the rest of your coffee, and I will see you tomorrow. I hope the best for you. Remember, 2019 is the year that you get unstuck, and 2020 could be the year that you make your first million. Cheers, my friends.